Welcome to Heart Power with Saskia, the heart-based podcast where we explore what it means to follow our heart so we can be truly empowered from the inside out. I'm very excited to be doing my first recording in person and in my studio.
It's super exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I get to be the first one.
I'd love to welcome Donna to the studio, Donna Wallace. Would you like to introduce yourself, Donna?
I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me here, Saskia.
Oh, thank you for coming.
I was just saying to Saskia, driving in here was really like reminiscing from my childhood of driving through the hills here. My family used to have a holiday house in this area, and it just feels there's an element of almost like a homeliness coming here. And then as I walked up into your space, I could feel that, I'm meant to be introducing myself, aren't I?
No,
but when I walked into your space, into this land, I could feel like that, I got intuitively, this is an artist. This is an artist space. Like, this is such a space of creation. And so thank you for having me here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm really grateful for you coming and, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. It's really lovely to have be doing this interview on the peninsula with an oceanic buddy.
Yeah.
So I moved to the peninsula a few years ago with my family. Before that, we lived in the western suburbs, but I've been an energy healer for over 25 years.
It's so cool.
And
wow.
I'm totally not that old, Saskia. But I started young, and it was not in my family. That was not a part of what my experience was growing up. But I was lucky enough to grow up at the foothills of the Dandenong Ranges, so in the mountains and in the trees, and being in nature has always felt like home, and the trees have always felt like home to me. So
bless, I love that.
Yeah.
It's just the best, isn't it? Because it brings you back home to yourself. Being in nature, I feel like it's one of the most restorative things, isn't it?
It truly is. Yeah, well, we are part of nature. We are born from Mother Earth, really. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and of course our beautiful parents. So I've done energy healing work for many years, and I really was on such a search to find things that worked, Saskia, really because I needed it. In all honesty, I needed it. I needed to feel better. I needed to... first had an experience of Reiki when I was about 15 or 16, and it was the first time that I felt like I was at home in my body. And I know that some people don't even really have that. Some people have always had that, and some people have never had that. And I'm glad I had it at that age, because it really opened up the doors to me going on my spiritual journey and my spiritual path, and letting that unfold and pursuing that at the same time. And so, my life changed at that point. We talk about having crossroads at different points in time.
So was it specifically the experience of having the Reiki and how it made you feel, or how you felt afterwards, or the whole thing?
The immediate experience of having a family friend, actually. She put her hands on my shoulders when I was upset, and I could feel this loving warmth coming through her hands. And I just remember feeling instantly calm. And when that energy and that love comes with that warmth, it just, or the warmth comes with the love, it was almost that care and love and warmth. It was this beautiful trifecta, but bringing through that energy, and the energy felt like home. It just felt so familiar to me, even though I'd never experienced it in this lifetime.
Beautiful. So that then, it was something you wanted to explore from...
Yeah, I had to. It was not really a choice. It was just always going to happen, I suppose, or I needed to find out more about that. I wanted to have that experience of feeling calm. As a teenager, I didn't feel calm. I was either really shut down, or I was highly emotional and dysregulated. And that was all an inner experience. No one in my outer world would have known that. So, and that's what happens, isn't it? When we're sensitive beings, often, well, maybe I was emotional, and maybe some of my friends saw that, but really to the extent of what was going on in my inside world wasn't revealed.
No, I feel I'm probably similar. I've got a lot of water in my chart, and probably, had a lot of feeling. And I think when you're empathic, you naturally, I mean, we're all empathic to certain degrees,
Yes.
but when you're very much connected to that feeling nature, I think it's a bit of a contrast to how the world wants us to be wired, or kind of conditions us to be.
Yeah.
In a way, I feel like. So it's hard to show all of that, or to integrate with the external world. Do you feel like that, or?
I feel like as I've been able to integrate it in myself now, I can express it out in the world. Yeah. But at the time when I couldn't, I wasn't okay, then I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't really know yourself as a teenager. You're trying to work it all out, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going through puberty and all these hormonal changes and the significant things that can happen in your life around that time. And whirlwind. It was a whirlwind.
Amazing. So you went on to study Reiki then?
Yeah, so I learned Reiki, and then I learned about lots of other different modalities. Aurosoma, I studied in...
Aurosoma? Yeah.
Not many people know about it.
Yeah, no, I love it. All the different colours. Yeah, I love it. I've studied Reiki too. Probably 20 years ago, but it's just sort of been a side thing. All my spiritual things while I was sort of working in the corporate world for me was something that I was like, I'll be probably like, and I do it with friends and family, but I just didn't take it to a work level. I thought I'll be called, into that one day, maybe, it's just naturally working through me in other ways, perhaps, like a secret agent of...
Of course it's working through you. It's a part of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It will come through in many different ways, including your art. But well, I was the same actually. Like, I had a corporate career too. And so I always had, inverted commas, a normal day job. And then, but I had this, I studied to become a medium. So I sat in a psychic development circle.
That's cool.
For a long time, and really fine-tuned my intuition. Yeah. And I got to the end of that training, and my teacher said to me, I can't help you anymore, Donna. You're meant to be a healer. You're not meant to be doing mediumship. And he was like, you need to go off and find another teacher or do something else. But this is like, you've hit, like we've completed. Yeah. And I was like, okay. But that was phenomenal training. And I've also done yoga teacher training like you have.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And actually I fell pregnant during my 2-year teacher training, and I gave birth to my son on the graduation, like the final, like...
On the yoga mat.
No, not on the yoga mat, thank goodness. Well, they're easy to clean, perhaps. But so that was a journey. And then I taught yoga for a while after that.
Cool.
I taught prenatal yoga, and I taught in a friend's yoga studio. And I just got to the point where I was like working part-time, had a little baby, and still doing some of my healing work, and I knew I had to choose another crossroad in my life, had to choose which way I was going. And so I really felt into it and thought about it, and decided that actually the part of the yoga teacher training that I loved so much was the subtle anatomy and the energetics of yoga. Yeah. Of yoga philosophy. I loved that so much, and I was like, I think I really know that, I'm meant to go down that healing path. And so I did that for many years as a hobby on the side, and often had a healing room in the house that we were living in, and all those sorts of things. And it was only after my daughter was later on my daughter was born that I had this, when you have a baby and there is this experience of rebirthing yourself as a woman.
Oh, it is. It's an initiation. It's like a...
100%.
Yeah, we are portals.
We are portals for the divine, made manifest in a beautiful body that has a beautiful soul. And anyway, when my daughter was born, there was this soul connection that, of course we all have soul connections with our children, right? But there was something about her, and I could just feel that she was calling me to be everything that I could possibly be.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
it was undeniable that I knew that I had to give my healing a go, you know, to see if I could make a business of it and actually live out my dreams. And that's what I felt she was asking me to do, which was like, you know, don't just tell me that I can do or be anything that I want, but show me.
Yes.
You do it, Mum, first.
I love that.
And so I opened up my business, and it was really crazy. Like, just it thrived like straight away. Had lots of people coming to me for healing work, and I was still doing my corporate job part-time, which was really intense role.
Yeah, incredible.
In the city, and I had 2 young children, and doing my healing work at night. I don't think I'd ever been so busy in my life.
That's a lot.
I was so fulfilled, Saskia. Like, it just felt like that, you know, that level of fulfillment, like, oh gosh, yes, finally I'm doing the thing that I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah, and that when you're doing that, it would be energizing you as well.
Yeah,
because when you're in that alignment, then you have more energy for everything else.
You do.
Incredible.
Yeah, so that's been part of the journey. Yeah.
Beautiful. With the energy healing, how would you explain to someone who hasn't had Reiki how that works?
It's interesting because I don't do a lot of Reiki anymore.
Okay.
But I do use like some of the principles and things. I do all sorts of other type of work now. I do family constellation therapy, which is really interesting. But I do a lot of energy clearing for people. So I teach people how to connect with source and clear themselves out, you know, like get rid of all their energy blocks and just receive so much more light and love, and just I help people reprogram themselves so they can clear out all of those emotions that they don't want to keep experiencing anymore and reprogram into like the way that they truly want to feel. And so I do a lot of emotional healing, which is, I find that deep down in most people, we have a yearning to feel a particular way. Maybe it's to feel deeply loved, like real pure unconditional love, like love without conditions, love without boundaries, love without just love for the sake of love, or to feel really seen or heard or accepted or belong, you know. And so we all have our own like slight variation of that, but I find that most people, if you dig deep enough, there is a yearning for something that is so deep in your heart and soul that you really want to experience in your life. And I teach people how to do that. And it changes everything.
Oh, sounds really empowering, like you're teaching people to access their own skills and... and that's the thing, like you can have everything that you want. Sometimes we just need to be taught. So I do that, a real combination of energy clearing work and emotional healing and family constellation therapy and all sorts of cool stuff. Beautiful.
So basically it's like having a guided meditation, but it's energy healing at the same time. So I have a lot of clients who live all around Australia and overseas, so it doesn't need to be done in person.
Incredible. So you're working through neural pathways, or just a whole lot of, or it's working with source, like it's a very holistic kind of approach. Like
it is a really holistic approach because it works on all levels. Like it definitely works on your neural pathways, but I don't specifically do that. It also works on all the different systems in your body, like because all of the things that we're carrying are stored in the tissues of our body, right?
Absolutely.
It is working with source and having people connect with their intuition and their spirit team as well, like to well, we're all different, right? We all want different things. Like some of my clients come to me and say that they want true love and they've never had that in their life. Or some people come to me and say, like, I've got relationships that just aren't working, like it's like the same pattern repeating over and over again and I don't know how to fix it, or I just want to feel happy and I always feel anxious and stuff like that. So people come to me with a variety of different things, but basically they want to feel different from how they feel. Yeah.
So with that, you have a specific way that you approach it, or is it like it's you use that intuitive?
I've got basically, after doing healing work for so many years, like so many years, I've really figured out what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I got to the point in my own healing journey where I was just so sick of doing something like the layer of the onion, peeling back one layer of the onion, feeling like I had some sort of level of resolve for it to only come back again. And I just I'm so frustrated even talking about that. Like I can feel that anger in me like bubbling up, like it's so, why? No, healing work can be really effective. And so that's why I've been on such a mission to like figure out what is the most effective healing modalities, what actually works. And I have kind of perfected my own art over time. And then I also just really listen very deeply to people. And I also feel, what does their soul want for them? I can feel, I'm clairvoyant and I'm clairsentient. Like I can use all the different levels of intuition, but predominantly I'm clairvoyant and clairsentient.
Yeah.
And I can see people's energy fields, which we might talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. Me too.
And so I can feel also what their soul wants them to experience. I can feel what wants to come through for people and where their soul wants to take them basically. And so I will customize my work to the people who come to me based on what they really truly need. Yeah, amazing. I taught myself how to see auras when I was younger. Yeah. And I thought, like, that'd be a cool thing to learn how to do. Yeah. And I didn't know how to do that. And I learned by watching people when they had they were standing against a white or a plain coloured
I learned wall. In a similar way, in a darkened room where you can not bright light. Yeah.
Oh, I happen to have done it in a bright light room, but I understand why dark is good.
Yes.
And that's so fascinating. So that's how I initially started doing it. Yeah. And then when all my other levels of intuition switched on, it just became so much easier.
Well, it's like anything. I think it's all there subtly for everyone, and some of us, I guess, have certain clairs, like the clairsentience or clairaudience, or there's quite a few of them.
We all have our strong suits of intuition.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, but it's all there, but it needs to be sort of used like any muscle to bring it online more, would you
Correct.
say?
Yes. Yeah. Everything, you can learn anything.
Yeah.
Right? So you can learn how to develop your intuition. Yeah. You can learn any skill set, and that includes, your intuition. And all the clairs.
Yeah. So how would you, if somebody is wanting to bring on more of their intuitive or learn to trust their intuitive nature, what would you advise them? Or is there something that you think that where people go wrong perhaps with using their intuition? Is there...
Yeah, sure. I think that the easiest place to stop is to not listen to it. And immediately when something comes through for you intuitively, often what will happen for people who are still getting the hang of it, still have their L plates on, with using their intuition, is that they'll have something come through, and then the very, in a nanosecond, they'll have another voice that says, that's not right, that can't be right.
Yes.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
I can relate to that. It's
right? And so it's actually going, oh, okay, well, that was my reaction to it. That was my, whatever, my mind. But the first thing that comes through is usually your intuition. And so to trust that and then test it out, follow your intuition and see what happens. Because usually, and you know this all too well with your experiences that you've shared, especially in your first episode of your podcast, that it often doesn't make sense. Your intuition often doesn't make sense, but there is a higher intelligence that comes through that actually takes into consideration everything. And it can take you on the most wild, magical carpet ride of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I love about following my intuition, because it's taken me to such unexpected places and had me move to the beach and had me start my first healing business and then had me start a second business, which was totally unexpected and I could never actually dreamed up myself. You know, intuition takes us to all sorts of places.
Absolutely.
And it's so much fun.
It is.
And it's challenging as well, right? It's uncomfortable, let's be honest. It's really uncomfortable following your intuition, yes?
Yeah, it is.
Because you're like, this does not make sense.
Yeah, the logical mind always wants to interject, and it's got its own agenda and wants to protect you and all of those things. And just listening to that intuition, and sometimes for me it feels much stronger at certain times than other times when I think the guides and angels, the team are wanting to get through more. I've had, you know, when I was getting to know my partner, I had such clear guidance, like they, you know, was told about past lives that we've had together, all these different things. And there was a few red flags in the beginning where we were just talking and I was like, my mind was screaming, just, you know, exit. But then I just had such a strong, clear knowing that I was like, okay, well, you know, they're just telling me so clearly, and I had so many visuals and just so much coming through that it was undeniable. I just had to follow it. And I think so many times in life I haven't followed it, and and every time it bites you, and you know when you haven't listened.
You're like, damn it, my intuition told me so.
Yeah.
I know. And that is like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I should have done that. I should have listened to it. I should have followed it.
And you know every time, and we forget over and over again.
Yes.
Until we get it.
Until we don't.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I had the same with my, you know, now husband. Like, there was a few red flags at the beginning. I was like, I don't know about this. Like, this is not going to, I don't know. You know, I think I should leave. And my intuition said stay. And it was so clear, so clear. And I thought, oh, I'm an idiot. I don't think I should be staying. I don't think I should be staying. I'm an idiot. Like, what is going to happen?
So, sorry.
And it worked out well.
Amazing.
When he became my husband. Yeah.
So do you think that people's minds and their traumas can sort of distort or confuse them? I mean, how do you think one can differentiate between that knowingness and just like, because sometimes, you know, it comes through like a quiet voice and there's that feeling, but, you know, do you think that there's any right way to kind of tune into that and hone?
I think that one thing that can really help is by doing energy clearing work, by doing our healing work and resolving some of the issues that we have in our lives. Because when that happens, we're just a clearer conduit for it. It becomes so much easier to listen to your intuition. And it's also a natural, I was going to say consequence, but benefit to doing healing work is that your intuition just naturally switches on more.
Yes.
Like, so our intuition is our natural state of being, and we walk around in our culture thinking the opposite, right? Like that it's an anomaly to be intuitive. It's not. That's ridiculous. It's not. Our true nature is to be intuitive, and it's just all the stuff that gets in the way of that. All of our programming culturally, all of the stuff
emotions and feelings are not
Yeah.
something to, you know, be ashamed of or to hide, when, you know, all of those things are actually superpowers. And
they are.
All our wounds are, even once they're transformed and transmuted, they become our superpowers, because it's always what, you know, these things that challenge us, which is driving us. There's an underlying desire to
so true.
Heal, I suppose. And we are self-healing, aren't we? We're self-healing beings, and we heal each other, and sometimes we need that reflection in another to heal things.
100%. And I think that's okay.
So I love auras, the energy field and auras. I once had an experience where I got to see the Taurus, which it's only happened once at sunset when I was having dinner with a friend, like, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. And I didn't tell my friend because it was just such a amazing moment and I didn't really know what to make of it, but I could just see this full field from the head to the feet, just moving, the energy moving around the silhouettes of people walking past. Like, it was really profound.
You could see it around everywhere?
Yeah, the Taurus. Like, and I've only had that happen that one time, and then we went to get ice cream, went over the bridge, it was in St Kilda, and then it was gone. But
I've had goosebumps while you're talking about that, and like shivers, and like, that's amazing.
It was profound. So sometimes they show the Taurus only going through the base where it goes through the feet. Yeah, so that was...
Oh, that is so super cool. I've seen it in one of my healing clients. I've seen the way that his energy field flows, and wow. And so I've seen it like that, but not like all of a sudden it switches on and I can see all those people. That is so super cool.
I've had quite a lot of experiences like that where they just, for some reason, things get switched on and it's sort of like, here you go, here's a little taste to make you kind of to get me on track. Or I haven't quite worked out why, but there's these magical occurrences where I see things or things happen.
Yeah, like imagine if we were just like completely switched on. Like, wow, what a world to live in.
That'd be so cool.
It would be amazing, It would be undeniable that there is so much more to this world than this 3D body, this human body and this 3D, you know?
Yeah.
And it's that, Have you seen that like post on Instagram that sometimes gets shared around like seeing people's souls rather than looking at the person? I can't remember exactly how.
Possibly, yeah.
And I think about that a lot. I think about like if we all actually were looking at people's energy fields, like you would know instantly, like trust them, don't trust them.
Yeah.
I have that as a feeling sense, but you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And I can see people's energy fields, but I don't walk around in my day-to-day life looking at people's energy fields. I feel like unless something flashes up and I can't help it, it just happens.
Yeah. No, I can.
But I mean, what a world to live in. It sort of reminds me of like Avatar or something.
Yeah, and I feel like though all of these senses are coming online more as we go along, the frequency is rising on the planet. We're slowly moving into the next Durga, is it? The what are they called in yoga? The next age anyway. We're moving into the Aquarian age. There's this cyclical nature where we move more towards the golden age very slowly. Sometimes I'm impatient. I'm like, come on, world.
I think we're all impatient for that.
Yeah.
Like it would really... That's why I'm so passionate about this sort of work, Saskia, because imagine what the world would be like if we were all truly heart-centered. You know?
Absolutely.
Imagine. Like we wouldn't have all of the horrendous things happening on the planet that are right now.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
And we are all in our, I think underneath it all, everybody's got that unconditional love in their heart, and that, you know, that's what we come from and where we will go back to, and it's all there. It's just all those layers that build up that, you know, prevent people from fully shining and fully connecting to that love. So, but I think, I'd like to think that most people on the planet are intrinsically good-hearted and all want peace. You know, it's just that there's these few that are, you know, have the wars still going. But I feel like it's slowly fading out. We're moving into a new, better energy, I'd like to think.
I hope so. I'd like to think that too.
Well, I'm so glad that you're playing a part in that. So, with seeing energy, so you see the colour in people's energy fields? Is that? Yeah.
So, as you know, I have a jewellery business, and that's called the House of Orion, and that's the second business that came through as a complete divine download. I knew nothing about jewellery before that, and so I've been on like a really steep learning curve. It's been wonderful. But the jewellery that I create activates people's energy fields. So when people first find out about the jewellery, they can have a free energy reading with me. And what I do is I look at the colours in people's aura and I tell them what it means for them. And then I also try on gemstones energetically in people's fields and tell them like what could be the perfect soulmate stone for them that would really activate their light, enhance their radiance, and uplift their experience on this planet.
Incredible. So you get that knowingness coming through from the colours in their aura, or you connect to the divas of the crystals, or what? Do you have any like?
I connect with the potential energy of individual stones. So you know how a lot of people buy crystals and they'll say, okay, well, I need some love in my life, I'm going to go buy a rose quartz crystal. I don't work like that at all. I think that, well, stones speak to me. So each stone is really individual. So you might have a set, as an example, I don't use rose quartz in my jewellery, but as an example, you might have 10 rose quartz crystals in front of you. I believe that they all have different energies, and some are willing to work with you and some aren't. Otherwise, they're just like, and energetically speaking, like we're all different, right? So are crystals. Same with the gemstones. Like some gemstones, they don't want to work energetically with people. A lot of them do. And a lot of them have specific energies and specific messages, specific things that they want to enhance in people. So when I have someone that wants to create a piece of jewellery, I go and intuitively choose gemstones for them. I listen to the gemstones. I feel into what they would want to do for my customer, and I make sure it's an energetic match to that person's soul.
That is really cool. I mean, I feel with crystals, there's definitely, there's divas in there. And I've been like one of my favourite healers that I used to see years ago. She gave me this huge crystal. She was like, this one wants to come with you. It's had enough with me.
Right.
And
what was it?
It was an amethyst cave that's actually sitting outside there in the garden. So I was like, oh wow. And I feel that too. And sometimes crystals, it's like there's a little diva in there, like a little spirit, like they're elementals that live in there. And it's like they have little personalities.
They do have personalities. They absolutely have personalities. Yeah. And sometimes they have accompanying spirits with them. Sometimes they have will relate to bring through particular frequencies and Wow. The gemstones that I choose are like multi-dimensional, right? So there are lots of different energies that will come through in one stone. How my process works is I do the energy reading for someone and we feel like what would be the perfect colour gemstone for them, and I'll have an idea from that what type of gemstones to look for. And then I take people through a deep dive into, it's called a blossom session, where they connect really deeply with their soul and experience what their soul wants for them and what their soul wants to experience in their life next.
Okay.
And so based on what that is,
that encapsulates
put that into, bottle whatever it is that the soul is blossoming into, and then I choose the gemstones based on that.
Oh, I love that. So the initial reading is like a preliminary kind of feeling.
Here, let me give you a taster of what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you be able to do that with me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Do you want me to do it now for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, great. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, I knew, you'd already suggested before we came here, in all fairness, in all honesty, I mean, I could already see turquoise in your energy field.
Oh, yeah.
And that didn't surprise me because I knew that you're an artist. So turquoise represents our creative energies and how we creatively express ourselves from our heart.
Yes.
It also talks to us about our process of individuation, so becoming who we uniquely are and that path. And so I can feel that is a path that is well developed in you because I can see how much there's a whole lot of turquoise around this part of you. And so that's how I know, like, yeah, like you're well and truly walking that path already, that individual soul path. The turquoise can be around, also give us that connection to the ocean and the water energy. So here you are living on the peninsula,
Yes.
and the love of the ocean. It can also tap us into the dolphin energy. So that playfulness, I would say, is probably a part of you. Like, we've only just met today, so I don't know you, but I get this sense of like playfulness and joy, and just that experience of, play and joy for the sake of it, right?
Yeah. Love that.
And then turquoise also taps us into a greater community, so the consciousness. And here you are, you know, sharing through community. You're creating community with your podcast and distributing that out. Like, that is part of the turquoise. It's communication with community too, and with that element of consciousness.
Incredible.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think aqua, sort of turquoisey aqua's always been my favorite color.
Oh, has it? Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, and it feels accurate. I think that sort of blue color is really good for the throat communication and throat chakra, and I feel like that's been something that I've been working through most of my life to get better at expressing myself, and hence the podcast has been
so good.
Something so good. You know, you're sort of drawn to those things that really that challenge you, or that, you know, are probably the most uncomfortable, or, you know, they say do what scares you the most, or that feels the most exciting, I guess. Because we can't apparently differentiate between anxiety and excitement. The brain can't tell the difference. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Or I believe someone described it, I heard, as excitement is like nervousness, but with the breath. Like, when you add the breath to nervousness, then it can become excitement. I was like, I like that. Anyway, let me keep going. Is that okay?
Oh, please, there's more.
Oh, awesome. And that's just the first part. It's funny because when I connected with you just now, I had this thing of twinkle toes. Like, what? I don't know what that means. That's like unusual. It feels specific for you. Okay. But there's lots of like yellow energy around your toes, like light pale yellow and quite sparkly. And before, when you were talking about the diva energy, I totally understand how connected you are to elemental energy. I also can see, like, now I've got a picture of where you live as well. Like, there's a lot of trees and shrubs around you. You're really in the green here. But it feels very elemental, right? Like, it feels like this is the home of all the fairies and, you know, the gnomes and the tree sprites, and they all have a place here. And so, but there's something about twinkle toes, and I was like, I wanted to look at your toe. It made me want to look at your toes. I'm like, what's
I'm
in
desperate need of a pedicure, so I don't know if you should.
But there is this magical light around your toes, which feels elemental, and it makes me... it's just like really sparkly and like lots of, Do you like to dance, or like what's with the...
I do like to dance. I haven't danced much, but I think I've used that expression, I don't know, twinkle toes. I don't know, it just sounds like fun and taking fun steps.
Yeah, totally.
Lightness of being, and feels like a fairy kind of...
Yes, that is definitely part of your makeup. Yeah. And I've never said twinkle toes in a reading before, ever. So that is totally you.
Love it.
I am just going to close my eyes for a moment and tune in a bit more. So I've got full permission to say everything, don't I?
Please.
You can always edit it. There's a lot of pink around your womb space.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's a lot of pink love around. It looks like almost a triangle of pink. So, I don't know whether that is like an intimate relationship thing for you, whether you feel like, or whether that could also be just the love of the feminine, you know, or love of who yourself as that divine feminine as well. But it's interesting how it sits like very much in your womb space.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I can also see some orange there, so I can see that there has possibly been like some shock or trauma around that space for you too.
Yes.
It's more on the left side on your left side that I can see it.
It's amazing.
But really moving into much more of a space of love and the connection with the divine feminine through your womb space.
Beautiful. I love that.
There is a lot more, you know how I said like sparkly yellow around your toes? There's a lot of yellow coming through, pale yellow coming through your throat and like that, your upper chest and shoulders. And that really opened up after I acknowledged like the love in your womb space. This is what happens sometimes, Saskia, is that I'll acknowledge things and it's like, oh, she gets me. Like I'll just open up the next layer. It's so beautiful. Wow, it's like like flower petals opening. So I can see all this beautiful pale yellow all around you, and that feels like that there is such a lightness to it because it's so pale. But let me talk to you a little bit about the yellow, but from the perspective of when I would have thought like when I see a color that's super bright, it's like an intense version, but actually it's the opposite. When I see a color that's pale, it's a more intense experience of the qualities of that color. That's because we're shining more light into it. I feel
like that too, because it's got more of the white imbued, which is all colors, all higher frequency, would you say? Or
yes, it just for whatever reason it's a more intense experience of it. So the yellow can represent happiness and joy. It can represent confidence. It can also be the self-critique. It can be the critical or judgmental or not sure of ourselves colour. But then, that's on one end of the spectrum, I guess. Like usually I would see yellow around someone's belly. So it's really interesting to see it like glowing from your throat chakra and your upper chest. Above your heart space.
Because it's sort of the solar plexus colour as well.
Yeah, usually it sits.
So it's like confidence and...
Yeah, that's right. How you feel about yourself and self-esteem.
And how you plug in energetically a lot to... It's sort of one of those places that can be a weakness as well, would you say? Where people can emotionally, if you're imbalanced in that space. I feel like through my life, that's probably been my other energy centre apart from my throat, where I've had a bit of work to do.
Okay, it's different for every person. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. And especially emotional turmoil like sits in our bellies and around that space for sure. Yeah. But why is it up around your throat chakra? That's a rhetorical question, or I'm asking spirit. So I feel like through your communication becomes a lot more joy. And I also get the sense of maybe like more communication or opening that up, like perhaps even doing your podcast brings you to that, like that self-expression brings you to more happiness, more joy, but in like such a light-filled way. Yeah. Yeah. And so, and also, I'd also add in like self-esteem. Like an increasing your self-esteem as well. And so from the little that I know of you, like it's easy for me to relate that to the podcast because I know that that's what you're doing, and here I am, on your podcast. But potentially in more aspects of your life, like that through that communication can come much more lightness, a sense of like really knowing who you are, that is coming through there. So you've got a lot of energy around your womb, your heart, and then your throat, and of course around your head. And there's also a fair bit of emerald green around your body, Saskia, so around the sides, your torso and down to your legs. And that emerald green feels like nurturing, but you know how you said nature, like how Mother Nature like just gives us so much. That's what it feels like. But I want to relate that to your physical body. I want to say that being out in the emerald green or out in the green gives you healing physically, and that somehow that's really important for you to have this sense of keep saying the same word, healing, like the emerald green coming in around your sides is like kind of supporting, or like it cushions you somehow. It gives you what you need, and it feels like maybe some more of that feeling confident in your body for whatever this is connected to.
Beautiful.
Wants to happen more of.
Because this green energy, I see it on you today, actually, and I see it just sporadically around people. This bright green just comes online. You know? When I see like an old friend, sometimes it just like comes searing into my vision.
That is so cool.
Randomly. And it used to happen in the yoga when I was studying yoga, because it's sort of a safe space, or just even, you know, I was having dinner with someone on Friday night, and this bright green, we were talking about her mother who's passed on, and that bright green came in. So I don't know whether it's how it's coming online
do you want me to tell you typically what green represents, and then you can pick and choose and see what resonates with you? I'm talking about like this plant colour, like a darker green, which I'm not sure is what you're saying. I'm talking
more like a sort of fluorescing
lime,
sort of like the Northern Lights green. Bright.
That's so funny. I've had a few people talking to me about that specific colour green lately, really random, but obviously completely not random, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. There's a bit more, something is happening
curious.
with that colour.
Yes.
Typically when I see green around people, it indicates that they love nature, and that being out in the green really helps rejuvenate them. It can also represent that they're a heart-centered person. We know that emerald green is the colour of the heart chakra. So there is a story there about, you know, heart, being a heartfelt person and so forth, or maybe following their heart is really important to them, or love as a value is really important to them, that sort of thing.
Beautiful.
But green can also be come in when we just need to breathe, like when we just need some space, and we just I just need to breathe. And it also offers us the opportunity to connect with the truth in our hearts. And sometimes it also is about finding a new direction, or a new direction is coming through. So
because it's like green, fresh growth.
It's
new
like,
life.
It's like it gives you the space. It gives you that, I guess, life force energy to connect with your heart and then take action.
I'm fascinated because when I did learnt Reiki, I was in my late 20s, and at the time I sort of we did like a group Reiki, and I got flashes of like X-ray sort of like, and that green colour was there. That's like sort of the first place where it sort of came online.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it again with doing Reiki, and I thought maybe if I do lots of Reiki, maybe that'll come back and I'll have that like X-ray vision or something. Because I could kind of see, it was quite interesting how it came through. But yeah, it just sort of seems really weird that it comes occasionally. So.
I love how you have like these little portals where you're like, bing, and things turn on for you. Like you see the green, or you see the Taurus, or like
it's
these
weird,
different, like such strong knowings.
It happened with when I was doing the bushflower essence, you know, the Australian bushflower essences. I did a weekend workshop once, and I think I was just past 20. I was kind of partying a lot and not really like, I kind of got given it for free from my boyfriend's mum at the time, and I was like, oh, I'll go along. And then we had to partner up and be eyes closed and go around this sort of Australian bush garden where they had lots of beautiful plants. And I went round and felt the energy of the plants, and I could feel the strongest emotions from them.
That is so cool.
And I was getting a searing bright colour in my third eye when I was doing that. And I was like, it was, you know, and one I was like, I'm feeling really prickly and I'm getting this bright colour, and the woman's like, oh, this plant's really like getting overburdened by another plant and it can't quite reach the light. And I could feel the feelings of the plants, and then that hasn't come back. So it's like, I've sort of I haven't tried that much, but it was just in that setting with those people. It's just sort of like a little window sort of showing me what's possible and what's out there, but it's sort of like a bit of a tease.
Like, give me more.
How do I activate that again, you know? So It's interesting.
I think that you could. I think that you could tune into plants and, spend some time with them and listen to them and see what happens. I think that you definitely could.
Yeah, fascinating.
So would you like me to try on some different coloured gemstones in your energy field and tell you what I think would be a good match
I'd love
for
that.
you?
Sorry, I digress.
That's fine. So if I was to try on, so when I say a turquoise coloured stone, I don't mean turquoise. I mean something more like aquamarine. It like gives you full priestess energy, like high priestess energy, and I can see it sits over your third eye, very ethereal, and I think that's bloody beautiful. I see all this like sweeping energy off you. It's so beautiful. It puts you into that really high priestess space.
I've got this aquamarine from my grandmother that she
I saw that.
bestowed upon me. She left a lot of jewellery. She used to work for a jeweller in Germany.
Oh, right.
So my sister and I inherited a lot of special jewellery.
So good.
Yeah,
so good.
Very lucky. So
so you've already got aquamarine, that's
yes,
all right.
But I've just moved it to my right hand. It's been living on my left hand all this time, and I've just felt after speaking to you, and I sort of tuned into it, and I've been thinking about all this stuff. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it wants to move to my right hand.
Interesting. I mean, this is a thing. You've just got to follow it, don't you?
Yeah, because the right hand sort of the receiving hand, is it?
Usually the other way around.
Or it's the giving because it's the masculine side. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's cool.
Yeah.
So yellow I saw around your feet next, the twinkle toes are just something that, oh, that's weird. I can't get like a gemstone coming through from that energy. That just feels like an acknowledgement that you're connected with the elementals. I might see if I can get that through your throat. Let's see if that's better. So a pale yellow stone. Interestingly, it's flat for you. I thought it would have been really I thought it would have been made you sparkly, but it's not. It's already like in a lot of progress for you. So that energy doesn't need to be like more
worked with.
Then what else did I see? I saw pink around your womb space. Oh, my eyes want to flicker.
That's what happens to me when I have healings. I go straight into REM state or that my eyes.
Right.
That's weird.
Yeah, like as soon as I don't usually get this, but as soon as I connect in with pink for you. Is this what your soul wants for you? I can't see beyond my eyes flickering. It's so weird. It's a definite possibility for you. When I look at putting like a ring on your finger, it turns your energy super smooth and beautiful. Like when I place a stone on your, like a ring on your finger or even a pendant, your energy becomes really smooth and consistent and in that frequency of pink love. And I feel like that might be something that you want to experience more. Like, how I said I can feel sometimes what that people's souls want for them. I feel like, some more like
You're
the
talking
experience
like pink
of love.
Argyle.
I mean, sure, if you like that.
I wouldn't mind it.
Me too. I'm talking like we could do pink sapphires or pink tourmalines, morganite.
Beautiful.
See what happens. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it gives you this consistency of love through your entire field, and I get a sense like it makes you feel more calm. It's really weird. Yeah. It was probably not weird. Like you feeling this. Yeah.
Well, don't
love.
I think in some prisons they wear pink because they don't fight. They don't. There's like a calming. It's so
effect.
calming. Yeah.
Because I have this all the time, actually, Saskia, when people actually get what they need, like emotionally or energetically, when people get what they truly need, they all tell me, like, oh, Donna, I feel so relieved. And like their whole body is like, ooh, you know, and they feel relaxed and their nervous system regulates. That's what pink feels like for you, but it's this expansive, beautiful, consistent love. So yeah, that's definitely a contender for you.
I get a lot of comments when I wear pink, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah. And then the other colour that I saw around you was emerald green. And that actually creates a lot of depth for you. And looks really beautiful in your energy field. But I'd probably go with the pink. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I love that. So good. Wow, you're incredibly insightful. You know, there's so many things that it's so synchronistic, you know. I can kind of the fact the flickering eyes, I know, that was so weird. That never happens in readings.
It's like you're tuned in.
Okay, I'm just gonna say what I get.
Yeah, and my womb, I feel like I've probably had creative blocks through my life where I've held myself back from, and I feel like the throat and totally there's that connection. Yeah. So, and I've actually had a womb trauma. You know, I had emergency surgery and I had an ectopic pregnancy when I moved down here.
Was it on the left side?
The left side, actually, I have a small scar on the left side, so that side was more impacted, and I think it was on the left side because then they found a cyst and I needed to go in under again. I had a team of men the first time, team of women the second time. It was very, it had to be balanced out, even though it was just one of those things. Yeah. But that was something I went through, and I feel like there was stuck energy, you know, from my creative, just withholding expression. Yeah. So it manifested to the physical.
And who knows, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think some things are written and some things, there's a lot we can change, but it feels like certain experiences are sort of written. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, I do, actually. Yeah, I do. I feel like some things we just have to go through, and others, I also believe we have free will and we're infinite expansive beings, and we can change our fate, and we can choose it, and then sometimes things happen that sometimes things happen.
Agreed. You know? Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Oh, well, it's been so lovely talking today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share or talk about?
The only other thing that I feel really called to share about is with my jewellery, one of the other things that came through as a divine download as part of the business idea was to create what I'm going to try to create, and I don't even know how to measure this, Saskia, but the world's largest crystal grid using our jewellery.
Wow.
And so I have already created the House of Orion energetic grid, and every 6 months my customers come into calls with me, live energetic work calls, and that grid is designed to support the ascension of the planet and all the people on the planet, and all the inhabitants and habitats. So there is that bigger, being a part of a bigger picture, and using jewellery to not only heal through beautiful things, but to to make a difference in another way.
That is an absolutely gorgeous thing that's come through.
I'm really lucky.
Very special. Oh, what a blessing. And I love that. And you know, it sounds like you have been and are doing so much beautiful work for the planet, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
It's so nice. It's been just really gorgeous having you on, and I feel really blessed to have met you and have you on the show. It's really special.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, Donna. Yeah.
Especially when I get to be your first guest
Yeah.
in the studio.
First time. No, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you. And I'll leave all your links for everyone to if they'd like to.
Amazing.
Check out
an energy reading or
amazing. I think I might be booking in for more energy reading. I love that. I might have to take the stone further. That sounds really special. So
amazing.
Yeah. Thanks,
Beautiful.
Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this latest episode. If you can share, like, and follow, I would really appreciate the support. I would love to hear what you thought of today's episode, and if you care to leave a review, I would be most grateful. I'll see you next time.